We're now going to hear from current users from Graph Expo who were kind enough to share their experience with GFI Innovations' game-changing technology. Carrie Sherborne helped interview printers, just like you, who installed the Mx-Series and have never looked back.
Hi, I'm Carrie Sherborne, Senior Editor at WhatTheyThink.com. I'm here with Rick Davis, who's Executive Vice President of Operations for Consolidated Graphics. Welcome.
Thank you.
Maybe just in case some folks aren't that familiar with you guys, you've been a little under the radar lately. Can you give us a little update on Consolidated Graphics, number of plants, and so on?
Sure. Consolidated Graphics is a public company, a little bit more than $1 billion in sales.
CGX, right?
CGX is our ticker, right? Headquartered in Houston, Texas, and we have about 70 companies around the United States, in Canada, Prague, and now also a joint venture in Japan.
Okay, great. And I understand that you've acquired a few of the GFI ink mixing machines through some of your plants. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what was the business problem you were solving by doing that?
Sure. We have currently 22 of the GFI mixing units in our companies. We've got 10 more on order. What our customers are asking us to do more and more is do shorter and shorter runs, and we get less time to do those runs. And a lot of times we're waiting for a special ink formulation. Customers change their mind at the last minute, and we're scrambling to deal with that. And talking to our ink suppliers, many of them have used the GFI solutions with their other customers, and they recommended it, I think, going back about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And we started putting them in, and we are having very good results.
And can you talk a little bit about what those results are?
Well, probably the biggest benefit is not having to wait for ink. I mean, that's the immediate, out-of-the-box benefit. But then there are also many other intangibles. Oftentimes there is a minimum, so if you only needed 2 or 3 pounds of ink, you may have to buy 5 or 10 pounds because there's a cost for that ink supplier to make the ink and then put it in a truck and race it across town.
Yeah.
And it seems like those things always happen at 5 o'clock on a Friday or later or on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So, definitely being able to turn the orders faster. We're actually using less ink. And then we're able to meet our customer demands on a more frequent basis and on a more repeatable basis.
So there'd be a couple of different sides to that. One is that you don't have to store all that leftover ink that you may not ever use again. And the other side would be if you miscalculate or, like you said, the customer changes their mind at the last minute on quantity or something, you don't have to wait for 2 pounds to come back in.
Right, exactly. And we're continue to look at our operations and try to find ways of improving them, making them more efficient. And one of the things we realized as we studied our ink buying processes is we always really bought more ink than we needed.
Yeah.
If we thought we needed 20 pounds of ink, they would always order 25 or some greater number than what we actually needed. And they were doing that as kind of an insurance policy, because if they ran short, then it was this big nightmare to get more ink in. And now what we find is we're actually able to order or make less ink than we think we need, because if we need another pound or another 2 pounds, there's no big deal to get.
Yeah, it's going to match perfectly and all of that. And in terms of the operation of the device, I mean, who actually mixes the ink?
It varies in our companies. Some of our companies, it's actually the pressmen that mix the ink when they need it, which was a big surprise to me. I was thinking that most pressmen would say, well, I don't do that.
That's not my job
up here, I'm not going to be down here to do that kind of low-level job. But actually, a lot of the pressmen do like it because they like to be able to control their environment, and they don't want to wait on somebody else. And if they think that they need a little bit more ink, they don't want to wait, and they can go over and make the ink and then get back on press, which they like and we like because it's more productive. More
productive, and so the learning curve is pretty easy.
It's very easy to use.
Is it something I could operate?
I don't know. I've never tried, but I hear it's pretty easy. I've never tried it myself, though. Maybe I should do that.
There you go. Yeah, and you might make a pressman a little angry, but life goes on.
Right.
So in terms of the other 40 plants, I guess, that you have, are you thinking about some of your plants are pretty much all digital, so that's a different discussion.
Right, it's not for digital, and some of our plants are so big, we already have a in-plant person from our ink company who's there, and they're mixing batches all the time. We're doing a lot of data analysis to look at what types of batches we're mixing. Do we mix them whenever we can? Are we still relying on an ink company when maybe we shouldn't be? And I think that data is going to tell us where we need to go with the program. We have 10 more on order, so we know that they do create a lot of value, and we're just trying to see where that right fit is, where it fits in our business.
That's great. It'll be interesting to talk again in a year or so and see,
Sure.
because I'm sure you're accumulating data all the time, and you'll have some metrics, some firm metrics that you could maybe share.
Yeah, we use the data and we look at best practices from different companies. We may have a company that's using it a lot and having great results, and another company that's using it sort of so-so, and we try to compare the data and see what's the good company doing with it that the other company could learn from.
And that they can learn from. That's
right.
Great. Continuous improvement.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
We do a lot of that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carrie Sherburne, Senior Editor at whattheythink.com, and I'm here with Don Hockenbury, who's one of the owners of Garlich Printing in St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, maybe you could start by just telling us a little bit about your business, how big you are, how long you've been around.
We're a general commercial printer. We've been around since 1928.
Wow.
We're in the mid-$20s million range, all sheet fed, 6 colors and more. And that's what we do. Complete full service bindery, direct mail, fulfillment.
And how many employees?
Roughly 100.
100, okay. And so you're doing you're doing ink mixing on site? And so tell me a little bit about that. Like, what sort of drove you to move to that, and what are the benefits that you're seeing from putting in on-site ink mixing?
We like the convenience factors. We like the technology. We've been following GFI for about 3 years now. Finally, we're able to work out an arrangement through our ink supplier to put a GFI on, and it really came down to availability. They were having, because of the economic situations, they were having difficulties supplying us with ink, downsizing of different companies and such as that. They came up with a scenario where we could actually mix our ink on our own floor.
Wow.
And with the accuracy that I had learned over the last 3 years of working with GFI, the accuracy of their machine, we've got a tremendous amount of confidence in being able to mix those. We've had the machine in since June and have proved its capabilities since then. It does a great job for us.
So it probably takes up less space than what you could call the wall of shame, all those cans of... I always kind of laugh because you see these cans of ink on the wall and the shelves, and they've got all this ink dripping down the side. And
well, the GFI model is to not have a wall of shame.
Exactly.
What I like about their model is the fact that I get to use up my wall of shame. There's thousands of dollars worth of ink in a typical ink room that may have been over-ordered, excess amounts, because you never want to run out on press when you're buying from out of town. When we've got this ink there, the amazing thing, and this has come back from my 3 operators of the machine to me, the amazing thing is that we can take some of that ink, put it in, ask the machine to tell us how to make a new blend, and it'll tell us how much to add of that, and then says, okay, put the can underneath, we'll add the raw materials to it, and it makes a dead-on match. It's incredible.
Oh,
the guys have
wonderful.
been just really amazed with its accuracy.
So it's not a matter of clearing off that shelf and throwing it away. It's a matter of using it up and then moving to the new. It's a transition.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy even if you don't have something in stock to make a PMS blend. But if you ask it, and we've taken the time and added all of our inventory into the GFI, when you ask it to make a PMS blend, it will tell you have product on the shelf.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
it will tell you that you've got product that you could use some of, and they'll alter the blend to make it into a new PMS for you.
That's
and we're
good.
doing that on a day-by-day basis. So.
Now, I understand that you're also G7 certified, or you're in the process of doing that?
We are G7 certified in our press room at this point in time. We're continuing to work on aligning our proofing. That's the final step in our G7 certification. So yeah, we are G7 certified as of, I think, about a month ago.
That's great. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
And so the ability to have reliable ink mixing on site and be able to make sure you got the colors right, that plays into that a bit, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
great.
So Yeah, we're having no difficulties with the matches at all. We have the ability to check the ink matches with the photospectrophotometer. We have the ability to look at it with our eye, which is what our customers do when they come in.
Exactly.
And the ink matches are coming right out dead on.
So I have one last question for you. Why doesn't everyone have one of these?
It could be economics, could be expenses. It could be they haven't realized the value of it. It could be that maybe their supplier is still local and taking great care of them. The biggest issue to us has been the downsizing of our suppliers due to the economic turns. We wanted the control. I've worked with GFI, like I said, for 3 years, and 3 years ago I wanted the machine. I'm really glad I got this machine, but it does the job. Why everybody doesn't have it, I just don't think they've realized the benefits yet, and the ease of operation.
Well, right now it's a competitive advantage for you, so.
Well, we think so.
Okay.